On this episode of Behind the Mic with Nick Morgasen, we sit down with the host of Mystery Diners on the Food Network, Charles Stiles, and we talk about the restaurant industry and a lot of the issues that are going on which are causing the owners to lose money. And then he sets up a sting operation with the permission of the owners to find and stake out all these problems. Now let's go behind the mic with Charles Stiles. So I wanted to get your perspective because I watch your show a ton. My parents watch the show a ton. Can you talk about first how you created your company, Business Evolution Services? Because there seems to be an interesting story behind it.
Well, the company itself, Nick, Business Evaluation Services, I've been in business for a little over 20 years. Really kind of started the company really for my own need. I own a international mystery shopper company. We do market audits, mystery shops, service compliance, and so forth. It began many years ago. I owned a retail chain business of gourmet food stores, and really just kind of out of my own need. I had to police my own stores to make sure that my employees were delivering on the guest experience, whether I was there or not, and met up to the expectations that I had for my customers. And so I began to hire people, if you will, to go around to the stores and be an anonymous customer and report back to me on the guest experience. And over a period of time, I had a lot of friends in business that saw what I was doing and the improvement that I was making for the guest experience in my stores, and asked if I'd help them with their stores do the same thing, sending people in to report back on the guest experience. And within a short period of time, it became a sustainable business model, and I decided that retail was, it was a tough business to be in. And over a period of about 6 to 8 years, I kind of phased myself out of the stores and just continued on until, where we are today with a national and actually international mystery shop business where we service, businesses around the world.
So now phasing into Mystery Diners on the Food Network. Can you explain how the concept of the show was actually created?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a interesting story. A lot of people, if you will, are aspiring to, be on television and so forth. That was never really kind of my direction. I've always been an entrepreneurial businessman, and I was approached about 3.5, 4 years ago to, do an interest story, if you will, on my company, my business, the interest in what we do with the customer service audits and finding out, what's going on behind the scenes. And I was like, well, that's kind of an interesting idea, doing something for television. And, we went back and forth for a few months. I sat and met with the production company, and, Food Network was interested in doing a show on what it is that my company actually does. And so we put together a pilot, and here we are, season 11, almost 130 some odd episodes later. And, that's kind of where the show came from.
Now, can you explain the whole process, like every week when you do an episode, what you have to go through, what the preparation is?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things behind the scenes. We have a, huge crew that prepares, and we're talking, it's not just kind of a week-to-week basis. We're talking, kind of months in advance. Talking with restaurant owners that, are looking for some help, if you will, to improve their services or issues that they're dealing with. And so, we meet with them, find out exactly what the issues are that they're dealing with, and find out the best perspective. And we have a large crew that we come in and put everything together to make the show.
So getting to watch this show a lot, you get to see all different types of incidents happen in a restaurant. Is there any situations that still make you say, wow, when you see it happening on the cameras?
It never ceases to amaze me, some of the things that people will do, things that people will say. I mean, generally, everybody feels, righteous in what, actions they're doing, and that the owners somehow owe them something more than a paycheck. It's something new all the time, and there's a lot of things that are, obviously consistent when you're dealing with people that steal or, take more than what really belongs to them. But, it's just, every episode is something unique and different, and we just kind of take it one stride at a time.
So talking more about the process of setting up the actual stings, because I actually like to watch that in the beginning of the episode. Do you actually have the restaurants all mapped out so you know where you're sending your undercover team and where specific cameras should go in the restaurant in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not like we just show up one afternoon and say, "Oh, this is a good place to put them." I mean, we're meeting with the owners, we're finding out exactly what issues they're dealing with. We're looking at what areas of the restaurant need to be covered, what's the best angle to make sure everything's hidden, and that no one at the end of the day knows that the cameras are up and in place. So there's a lot of strategic planning that goes into place.
So there's a trend right now for shows like yours going undercover and behind the scenes. So like your shows, Mystery Diners, used to be Restaurant Impossible, and even shows like Bar Rescue. Do you think restaurant management and service has become a big problem in this manner?
Well, you mean as far as restaurants themselves with customer service issues, or I'm sorry, I'm not sure if I understand the question.
I guess like customer service or like watching in some of your episodes where you see employees taking money that's not theirs or just in general because the restaurants or bars or whatever are struggling.
Well, I mean, it really kind of a couple of different perspectives. I mean, a lot of times you have owners that have multiple locations that can't be, in all places at all times. They hire people that they're hoping are, doing their job and have their best interest at heart. And the truth is, people get very complacent in their job. They feel like, the owners owe them something more than, as I said earlier, a paycheck. And, they begin to start taking their own special liberties, whether it's, giving away free drinks, tipping themselves fuel out of the till, not ringing everything up. And what happens is it spirals out of control. People start to get greedy, and it just, escalates into a problem. And for owners that aren't able to pay attention to everything, don't have the proper cameras in place, or just simply can't be there all the time, it just becomes a bigger issue. And so, they get so stuck in the problem that they're dealing with, they find themselves in a bad position.
So, as you mentioned, you're in your 11th season. Can you tell us how you've managed to make this show so successful for such a long period of time?
Well, you know what? I wish I could tell you the answer to that. I really don't know. I think the audience enjoys watching, the show. It's obviously got a success of 11 seasons. I think at the end of the day, everybody, likes to see the villains, if you will, get caught in action and pay for their, pay for their actions. We try to keep it fresh and look for different ways and new technologies to put into place. And I think at the end of the day, it's a feel-good story when the restaurant owners, understand what's happening to them, and they're putting money back in their pockets.
Actually, that's an interesting point you bring up. Are there owners that when you go into the places they've called you to come in, where the owners don't actually understand the process that you brought them through, and they kind of don't follow what your advice is, or no?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's really up to the owners of the restaurant once the issues have been flushed out and they understand where their, problems have come from or the employee is responsible. But really, at the end of the day, it's up to them to, take the matters back in their hand and create accountability for the rest of their staff to make sure that, they don't fall back into the same trap that they fell in to begin with. Making sure that they, put cameras up, that they hire the right people, that they keep people accountable, and that they pay a little bit closer attention to their business. I mean, unfortunately, we've seen a few businesses over the, years that didn't follow, protocol, if you will, of the training and information they were given and fell back into the same habits and, unfortunately have become a victim of, being out of business as a result.
Now, have you had a chance to talk to some of the places you've been into over the past 10 or 11 seasons?
Absolutely. It's interesting is that a number of the owners have actually become friends over the periods of years that stay in touch and, let us know how they're doing. That in fact, one of our restaurants we filmed at in Seattle, Washington, Bistro Baffi was just nominated as one of the best restaurants in Seattle. So you see owners like that turn things around and really embrace the change and take the show and the learning lesson they went for the most of it.
So what do you see next for Mystery Diners? What's the next projects coming up for you?
Well, can't really speak to the next project. I mean, we're currently right now filming in season 11. We are in the New York greater area, and we're working through the north, or I should say the eastern seaboard. So we're in the midst of actually filming season 11.
Oh, that's really cool. Because
Yeah.
my
In
parents,
fact, I'm sitting out here, and the rain just got off the Jersey Turnpike, and to make this phone call, because as you know, New York, it's tells you 30 minutes and it turns into an hour.
I mean, with all this weather lately we're getting, but my parents, as I said, are huge fans of yours. They watch your shows all the time. And I said, I have to try to get you on because I really enjoy how you do it, the perspective of your show. And I've actually learned a lot from watching what you do on the show.
Well, that's great. I appreciate you watching the show and being a fan.
All right, Charles, thanks for being on the show. You want to just tell everybody when it's on just so they can find it?
Well, you know what? Right now, the new season hasn't actually begun. It'll be this next Thursday will be the first episode of season 11 as a kickoff, and it'll be every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So generally there'll be 2 or 3 episodes in a place, and the reruns prior, and then all the new episodes will follow.
All right, Charles. Thanks. It was a pleasure having you on. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.